All right, we're going to look at some standards from 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. Just reviewing them to make sure that you remember how to do these things. So we're going to talk about changing fractions to decimals. To change a fraction to a decimal, you always divide the numerator, which is the number on top, by the denominator. Or you can remember that top dog is in the house, right? So when you set it up, the top dog, the top number is in the house. And then the bottom number, or the denominator, goes on the outside. So 5 does not go into 4, but we can add a decimal and a 0 after the 4, and 5 does go into 40 8 times, and it goes in evenly. So the answer to that is 8/10, meaning that 4/5 is equal to 8/10. All right, let's try another one here. When we have 1 and 5/8, one thing you can do is change this to an improper fraction. 1 times 8 is 8, and 8 plus 5 is 13, so it's the same thing as 13/8. And then you can divide the 8 into 13, the numerator divided by the denominator, or the top dog, which is the 13, goes in the house. 8 does go into 13 one time, with 5 left over. And we want to take this further by doing a decimal. And I don't know what I'm doing there. I'm watching baseball at the same time. So 8 goes into 50. Let's see, 8 times 6 is 48. And 8 goes into 20 twice. We get 16, and if we subtract, we get a 4, and if we bring down another 0, we're going to get 40, and it's going to go in evenly 5 times, because 5 times 8 is 40. So that means 1 and 5/8 is equal to 1.625. Another way you could have done that problem is you could have taken the 1 from here and just known that our answer was going to be 1 point something, and just done the 5/8, or 8 into 5. 8 into 5 is 0.625. You just have to remember to keep that 1 on there. And this last example, we're going to divide 9 into 2. 2 is inside because top dog in the house. 9 does not go into 2, so we'll need a decimal and a 0. 9 goes into 20 twice. And we subtract, we need another 0. We get 20 again, so it's going to keep on going with 2's. So we can say 0.2 repeating. And there's our answer. Okay, so mental note to do these videos from school from now on, because the dogs are going crazy and I don't know why. All right, another thing that you've probably learned before, but we're just going to review it because you're going to need to round a lot this year, is rounding decimals. This is an important skill to have. So when we're rounding decimals, we're going to look at the number that is just to the right of the place that we're rounding to. If it's less than 5, we're going to round. Actually, we're not going to round at all. We're going to keep it. Let's do that. If it's 5 or greater, we're going to round up. We never round it down. All right, so if we're rounding to the 10ths place, first we have to identify which place is the 10ths. Here's the 10ths. So one place to the right is the hundredths. Since that number is less than 5, we're going to keep the 10ths place, that's what we're rounding to, at 1. And then we drop everything after it. If we want to round to the nearest whole number, here's the whole number. We're going to look one place to the right. Since that's 5 or more, we're going to round up. We're going to round this whole number up to a 5. And we're going to drop everything after it. You could put 5.0 if you want to, but just 5 is fine also. If I want to round to the hundredths, you might be thinking, I don't see a hundredths place. I just see a tenths. But remember that 0.3 repeating is like 0.3333s forever, right? So here's the hundredths place. And if I look one place to the right of that, it's less than 5. So I'm going to keep that hundredths place at a 3 and drop everything after it. Rounding to the nearest hundredth again, right there is the hundredths place. Looking one place to the right is 7, which is 5 or more. So I'm going to round that hundredths place up to a 6 and drop everything after it. And the last example, if I'm going to round to the nearest thousandths, it goes tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So here's the thousandths place. Look once to the right, and it is 5 or higher. So I'm going to round up this 8 to a 9 and drop everything after it. Thanks for watching.